All right, we're live. So, welcome back to Dapp University. So, Ethereum smashes its all-time high. Cryptocurrencies surpass a $1 trillion market cap. The world is decentralizing, and banks are making it even easier for their customers to purchase cryptocurrencies. So, I hope to cover all this today, let you guys know what's going on. This is super, important stuff that's happening right now. So, I'm gonna let everybody kind of jump in on the chat here. I see people rolling in. If you're new around here, I'm Gregory. And on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know how to become a blockchain master step by step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. So I see people rolling in the chat here. Go ahead and drop a line if you can hear me okay. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. So let's start off with Ethereum. So yesterday on the stream, we talked about how Ethereum looked like it was trying to make a breakout. It was going up and testing its previous all-time high. We're kind of forming like a wedge pattern. And it looks like it broke it. We talked about that yesterday on the stream. It looked like it was going to try to smash through its previous all-time high and establish itself above $1,500. And that's what's happened. So, and this happened literally hours after the stream yesterday. So I was super excited to see that. Hope you all were following along with me. Nice. Portfolio looking good. Sir, please respect the pump. Right. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. So let's talk about what happens next with Ethereum, or what's likely to happen. As always, I'm not a trader. This is not investment advice. I'm not really a big TA guy. I'm an Ethereum investor as well as a blockchain developer. And I do these updates, to kind of check on, my own investments and let you know how I personally feel about them. I just like to look at the big picture, what I think is going on in the broad market. So this is a really good sign. I talked about yesterday on the stream that sometimes people kind of get a little nervous around all-time highs because I think the price could just like dump, people waiting to cash out for that point. I think some people are waiting for that, but you have to understand this is a historical all-time high. And a lot of times the historical all-time highs that are, several years old, that can be actually really bullish whenever they get broken, because that usually means that the asset, not usually, but it can mean that the asset's it's ready to find new price levels, right? And that's what I expect to see for ETH. So it wouldn't surprise me if we start to see, ETH cross into the new thousands range over the next few weeks, months. Again, not financial advice. But yeah, that's definitely a likely scenario that I could see happening. So, and another reason to think about that is looking at the bigger market about what's going on. I mean, we see Bitcoin also moving upward, and we just see like a total sea of green here, right? If you look like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap.com, like yesterday was just like totally green. Now that could be, there may be some word of cautions if you're trying to like speculate on altcoin or something like that, but when I see stuff like Bitcoin performing well, ETH kind of performing well alongside of it, and the crypto market cap going back up above $1 trillion, there's no real reason to think that we're like really cooling off with the large cap stuff like Bitcoin and ETH. Now, like I said, I'm not a big altcoin speculator or anything like that. I do hold some DeFi stuff that I got in pretty early on, but if I was personally speculating on alts, we've seen a lot of them do some pretty big runs. And I might take a little bit of caution because, I don't know, when everyone thinks they can't lose money, that's typically when people lose money. So we'll see. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I think is going on with ETH right now. Like I said yesterday in the stream, looked like we were trying to press a new all-time high. We've printed a new all-time high. I would really like to see this establish itself convincingly above 1,500. It looks like it is, right? It's moving like ETH does. It's kind of this undulating up and down sort of motion that, yeah, it's just kind of how ETH moves. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it. So let's talk about the big overall picture of the crypto market cap crossing, $1 trillion. This is a big deal. Bitcoin, this happened when Bitcoin hit its all-time high of $40,000 recently. And, basically, it's important because it means outside money is flowing into the space. Money can rotate around inside the crypto markets when people make profits on this, and then they move it over into Bitcoin or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of that means it's just people who are already here, moving their money around. It's just like wealth transfer basically within the same ecosystem. But when you see the market cap itself growing above that amount, I mean, assuming that we're not just like, printing some of that value. Part of it is because outside capital is flowing into the space, and that's really bullish because that just means that more people are entering into the game. So let's see what some people will say here in the chat. So Rune, Ethereum going to $2,000 by May. That's not my prediction. I'm reading it from the chat. Link touched all time 2 minutes ago. Yeah, so Chainlink's doing well. Somebody says ETH is an altcoin. I mean, I don't really do the altcoin. I just say altcoins because that's what people call them. I mean, yeah, there's lots of different terminology. At this point, ETH to me is pretty blue chip. It's a platform. It's yeah, I don't really think of it as an alt. I know people do, but it's okay. All right, so let's yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to the ETH price long term, with this particular market cycle, assuming that we have a big super cycle like we did last time. One thing that I saw come out yesterday was Dapp offering a $25,000 ETH price with a December 21st expiry. So this is pretty interesting. Part of this is just like the psychology of where people think the market's gonna go. Like people who buy these right. So basically the whole idea here is if the price hits that, then you make money, and if it doesn't, then you don't. Some people asked me yesterday, what does this mean? That's basically what it means. So we're starting to see some of these numbers float around. Again, not financial advice. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to hit those price targets, but that's what's in the mind of people who who want to buy these. So let's talk about Reddit, because I realize I'm not going to share my screen here. I keep doing this, everybody. So let's talk about Reddit, okay? Because the world is decentralizing, and Reddit is a place where, to me, Reddit is a pretty big part of that, okay? We're seeing this with the Wall Street Bets crowd, where basically people can have an online forum to share information anonymously or pseudonymously, however you say that, basically based on a pseudonym, a fake name. So, this is important for the bigger picture because it gives people new abilities they didn't have before, right? It's like with the Wall Street Bets thing that's happened this past week, basically people could organize with a common goal to create a collective that's more powerful than an establishment, right? That's just one thing you can do with an online forum like Reddit, with the world decentralizing like this. There's a lot more, right? For sure. But Reddit is an important venue for discussion when you're talking about a decentralized world, decentralized collaboration. So is Twitter, right? But Reddit announced a partnership with the Ethereum Foundation recently. This was actually last week. I didn't get to cover it on some of the previous streams. I figured I would go ahead and talk about it today because I think this is a big deal. Reddit has been doing a lot with Ethereum over the past year. I talked about this some as these things were happening on my YouTube channel last year. So the first thing were like the community points. So Reddit and two of its subreddits have basically points, which are tokens that can be claimed on Ethereum. And they did it in two big subreddits. One was the Fortnite subreddit. The other one was it's either the cryptocurrency subreddit or I think it was the cryptocurrency subreddit. So basically, they were using Ethereum for this. They did the Ethereum scaling bake-off. So this was basically a way to partner with them to help scale the Ethereum platform. So what's really cool here is basically that Reddit believes in this technology. Reddit wants Ethereum to succeed. Reddit is behind sort of the ethos of what's happening in the decentralized world and the blockchain world with Ethereum, and they're making many efforts to help Ethereum succeed. So yeah, you see that come through here. It says, as Reddit continues to grow with 50 million daily users, hundreds of thousands of communities, the platform has long maintained a decentralized ethos by empowering users to create, govern, and grow their communities. Through this partnership, we'll be increasing Our commitment to blockchain, accelerating scaling and resources for the Ethereum ecosystem, and bringing the value and independence of blockchain technology to millions of Redditors. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what transpires out of this. I think Reddit can be a big player in helping, basically the world discover blockchain. So, they're a huge website, lots of users, about 50 million daily users, right? So if there are ways that we start seeing blockchain used in a really impactful way on Reddit, that's going to be huge. So, all right. So let's see here. So another thing is, so Visa. So Visa has a pretty big accomplishment here. Basically, creating APIs for banks to integrate cryptocurrencies into their platforms where customers can buy them. So this is with Neobank. All right. So why is this bullish? So why is this big for crypto? So I've talked a lot about, people having to get into the crypto space, get into the DeFi space, get into the blockchain space, how they have to do that. So most people, it's really hard. They have to basically go to a website like Coinbase. They have to go through all this friction of like signing up, KYCing, giving their ID just to buy cryptocurrencies if they want to get into, DeFi. Let's say they wanted to go over to Aave, or let's say they don't want to get that advanced. They just want to buy some Bitcoin, right? They just heard that cryptocurrency is a thing and they want to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. It's still hard for them, right? So we saw some favorable regulations come out, or I don't know, sure if the regulations actually passed, but at least favorable comments from U.S. regulators talking about regular banks, allowing them to custody cryptocurrency for their users. So now we're basically getting the pieces in place where it's easier for regular banks to let their customers purchase Bitcoin. So let's say I'm not saying this is what's actually happening, but let's just use an imaginary scenario here. Let's say you're in America. I'm just going to use an American example because that's where I live and that's what I know the most. So let's say you have a bank account at Bank of America and you want to purchase cryptocurrency, and then inside your Bank of America account, you could just purchase some Bitcoin, right? Or you're not even thinking about, think about how many people who aren't even thinking about buying Bitcoin, but then it's available for it to, do it inside their Bank of America app or something like that. That's just going to reduce the friction, make it so much easier for people to get inside the ecosystem, right? So somebody says, what will be the effect of the CME? So that is a good question. All right. So I'm going to talk about that right now. Let me pull it up on my screen here. So if anybody doesn't know what that's about, basically, the CME is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So they are launching the Ethereum Futures on February 8th, which is in 5 days. Okay. So this is really interesting. So basically this is going to let people trade futures on Ether, which this has been around on Bitcoin for a while. I believe it came out in Bitcoin at the top of the last cycle, so at the end of 2017. And so some people are a little worried about this. They think that some people say, oh, this is great because it lets more people have exposure to trading cryptos through derivatives in the traditional markets, right? But when this happened last time for Bitcoin, they started trading in the wrong direction, right? So it's hard to say whether that was just coincidence with the timing of the market, and then everybody's betting on lower prices, and then it adding negative pressure to Bitcoin. That's kind of what happened last time. So we'll see if that happens with Ether this time. It's hard to say. It could just be coincidence that that's when the futures launched at the wrong time in terms of the market timing. If Ether's doing well, then it could be super, super, super bullish. We'll have to wait and see. I don't have any formal opinions on this. I'm just going to sit back and see what happens, and of course update you all as it's happening in real time. So somebody says, is there any chance of Ethereum overtaking Bitcoin? I've kind of changed my mind on this over the years. I think there is a chance of Ethereum overtaking Bitcoin. It's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to sell your Bitcoin for Ether. I hold both Ether and Bitcoin. There's lots of reasons I think this is possible. Here's a few reasons. So I'm actually releasing a video about this later today, so make sure you subscribe, check it out. I just think that you can do more with Ether. I think the Ethereum platform itself could potentially draw a lot more users than the Bitcoin platform itself. And if you think about the theory, the Metcalfe law theory about the relationship between price and the cryptocurrency itself and the number of active wallets having an exponential relationship, if that's true, then that could make the price of Ether go up like crazy, which would definitely cause Ether to flip Bitcoin. So let's just say let's say that's not true. There's still lots of other reasons. Like we're still kind of in this phase where the world is trying to determine whether cryptocurrencies are a reliable store of value as an alternative to what we have now. Like gold, precious metals, national currencies. Potentially, are they more efficient and better stores of value? Maybe. We're trying to figure that out. And, it's very possible that Ether is actually a better store of value than Bitcoin long term. I know people absolutely cringe at that idea. Make sure you watch the video later today. But there's some counterpoints that is important to know. Most people talk about Bitcoin, being a hard money, institutional grade, store of value, all that kind of stuff, and that there's no way that Ether could ever be that because Ether has Ether has an infinite supply. So some people are like dropping off the stream now. I'm talking about Ether potentially flipping Bitcoin. That's funny. That like Ether could never be that because it has an infinite supply. And what they always imply there is that like, oh, Ether's like no better than fiat currency. It can just be printed on a whim, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Ethereum actually has a predictable inflation schedule, and it has inflation built into the protocol for security reasons. So let me explain why that's super important. Let me just pull it up on my screen here. Go check out ETHUB. So also before I continue on this path, like I said, I'm just talking about the possibility of this. I'm not saying I necessarily think this is going to happen. Somebody just asked me, do I think it's possible that could ETH flip Bitcoin? And I think it is possible, and I'm laying out the reasons why. Okay, so part of it is ETH has a predictable inflation schedule. So actually, let me pull up the Ethereum website too. I got to pull it up on Ethereum. The Ethereum.org has a really good chart that I want to show you. Okay, I can't really see it. I can't find it off Google right now, but you can look it up on Ethereum.org's website. But I'll tell you this. Basically, like Ethereum has inflation built in their protocol, but that inflation trends towards zero. Okay, so let me tell you what I mean. So basically, like if you let's say you have basically the same amount of Ethereum is issued every single year. Okay, so let's use a simple example. Say you have 100 apples. All right, and then year one you issue 10 new ones, so now you have 110 apples. And then year two you issue 10 more, so you have 120 apples. All right, year three you have 130 apples. So the first year, that's like 10% inflation. The second year, that's like, I think it's like 9%. I've done the math before. I can't do the math that easily in my head. Then the next year, let's say it's like 7%. These are rough numbers. These may not be totally accurate, but the point I'm trying to make here is the percentage of inflation is going down every year in terms of the total supply, whereas because the amount is staying the same. So as the supply grows, basically the percentage of new apples added to the batch is going down. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is there's a fixed amount of new apples added. So the same is true for ETH. So basically, like there's a fixed amount of ETH added every single year. It's predictable. It's not like they just willy-nilly create new ETH whenever they want to. So and people will say, well, but Bitcoin, it's like it's just hard coded into the protocol. It's never going to change. But with Ether, like ETH 2.0 hasn't shipped. Like we don't know what's going to happen. The protocol could change. They could change the issuance. You know, there could be governance things where the new amount of ETH is changed. Blah 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 blah. So there's some truth to that, right? So there's some potential risk that Ethereum 2.0 doesn't work. You know, the Bitcoin protocol is sort of like a set it and forget it type of thing. But here is what they never talk about. So have you ever thought about what happens when all the Bitcoin ever is mined? So there's 21 million max Bitcoin ever. What happens when all the Bitcoin's mined? Anybody know? Well, basically the people who run the Bitcoin blockchain, the miners are getting paid off of fees. All right, only fees, not mining, not block subsidies anymore. No more mining rewards. So there's a potential, I say potential problem there that this could cause security issues with the network. Okay, and so would there be a protocol change if something like that happens? Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's like we don't necessarily know what's going to happen when we start approaching the max number of Bitcoins ever created. So the good news is, you know, Bitcoin won't face that problem until like, I think it's like year 2140 or 2160. So it's a long time away, okay? It's over 100 years away, but it'll actually start approaching that problem functionally a lot sooner because the closer you get to that time, the fewer amount of Bitcoins left to be mined. And you'll basically have zero left a lot sooner than that. So that's the reason I say all that is because Ethereum has inflation built in their protocol by design. It's for security. It's basically to ensure that all of the that the ETH network stays strong. But long term, that inflation is going to end up being like potentially a 0.5% to 2%. It will follow a predictable schedule, and this is there for Ethereum 2.0 proof of stake, to ensure that the people who are staking are running the network, okay, and that they are always able to be paid, because when we have EIP 1559, part of the transaction fee is going to get burnt, and that could cause ETH to become deflationary at certain times of high network activity, okay? But long term, it'll still have this inflationary issuance to the network that needs to stay there forever to make the network secure, okay? Whereas, I don't know what's going to happen to Bitcoin when we get closer to the time when, all the Bitcoin is mined. So again, I hold both Bitcoin and Ether. It's not investment advice. I'm not saying like freak out and sell your Bitcoin or freak out and sell your Ether, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are just the realities, okay? These are the technical realities, and we'll let you know as a blockchain developer works this stuff all the time. But that's a long answer to say this is why I think Ethereum could potentially flip Bitcoin. And if cryptocurrencies do prove as a reliable store of value, then ETH could be just as good as Bitcoin, maybe better. So we'll see. All right, so how many people that make mad in the chat? Let's just see here. So somebody says, I should watch the interview with Justin Drake, Ethereum researcher, Bankless Moon Math. He explains the economics, cryptography, and future of Bitcoin and Ethereum in a nice way. Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, I'm familiar with Justin Drake. I just haven't seen that interview. Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, somebody says won't happen until 2140. Yeah, that's true. So I couldn't remember the year off the top of my head. It's a long way away. It's over 100 years away. But also functionally, we could basically get that problem a lot sooner than that, because basically, yeah, basically because we'll get close to that. So somebody says derivatives is a quadrillion USD market, but why would it become decentralized? That's a good question. So let me just there's a few different reasons. Part of it is the settlement, okay, and the benefit of blockchain technology. So sometimes like some kind of silly stuff can happen in the derivatives market because a lot of what's going on over there is like paper IOUs. I mean, functionally, it's not really that, but basically part of the benefit on chain is you can verify that everything's actually accounted for. There's less risk of like, you know, there's the settlements faster. There's lots of benefits, especially if Ethereum 2.0 comes out, or yeah, if when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, we see a lot faster scaling, transactions become cheaper. The verifying settlement faster and knowing that it happened is a big value. There's lots of the other values. I actually want to make a video about this. I think derivatives are starting to really gain traction. The other thing to think about is like just derivatives for crypto in general. Okay. So let's say that cryptocurrency as an asset class just starts becoming way more sought after and way more in demand, right? So some people, like, there's two ways of thinking about this. One is thinking like we need to start trading derivatives on blockchain of things people are already trading with in the traditional financial markets, stocks, commodities, you know, whatever you normally trade in derivatives markets. But part of it is creating crypto derivatives themselves. And if the crypto market gets big enough, is, you know, like, and that becomes, you know, a really respected asset class and in demand asset class globally, then ETH could add to the current derivative market size, in addition to capturing some of the current market that's there. Okay. So derivatives market's huge. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but even if Ether just captures like 1% of that market, it would be an insane impact on the protocol itself. Somebody says ETH broke 1600. So let's see if that's true. It might have on one exchange. I'm gonna pull up my camera here. Yeah, it looks like it's moving for sure. 15.99. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So one of the cool thing that I saw yesterday was the people talking about, or Aave tweeted out the sort of concept Aave card, which I think are pretty awesome. So Aave's a really awesome project. I've been backing Aave since they were ETH Lend. I got into Aave early, kind of on the earlier side of 2020. So I've been holding that for a while, and they just crossed, you know, 4 billion. I think, let's see, yeah, 4 billion total value locked. It's a pretty impressive project. So, you know, I would love to see Aave natively support, you know, fiat on ramp, off ramp type stuff. I know that there were some innovations they were talking about for that previously, but I think Aave could be a really amazing sort of one-stop shop for a lot of the DeFi activity, normal consumer DeFi activity like savings and lending. Somebody says ETH is going to make me retire. I think a lot of people are going to retire off ETH. So somebody says, what is the monetization of yield farming? So yield farming is basically, I'm not, let me see if I get your question right here. So basically yield farming is taking, it's basically taking coins and putting them in an application that earns interest. But what a lot of people mean by yield farming is, in addition to getting interest denominated in the currency that you're supplying, so let's say you yield farm with USDC, you'd be getting like, let's say 5% of USDC, so that protocol can loan out USDC at a higher interest rate on the other side. Most people, when they say yield farming, they're also getting a brand new token. So if you put USDC into an app, you're getting a little bit of USDC as a reward, but you're also getting like some brand new token, like the comp token, for example. Like, so Compound Finance, was one of the first applications to do yield farming, where they released their own comp token as a reward and incentive for people to provide liquidity to the application. So that's what a lot of people say about yield farming. And also, there's sort of like an implied meaning to yield farming, which is like you're searching for the highest yield. Like, you're trying to find like the biggest ROI in your funds at any given time based on the interest rates. And then also like the price of the token that you're earning at the time. Somebody says Ether is firmly crossed 116. Yeah, I don't see the price aggregation yet on CoinGecko, but I think there are definitely markets that are moving in that direction. It's probably trading past 1600 on somewhere. Let's look at all trading pairs. I don't see it yet on CoinGecko, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it broke 1600 pretty soon. So CoinDesk has it over 1600. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for today. Hopefully ETH will break 1600 soon. We can revisit this in the live stream tomorrow. Maybe we'll be close to 1700. It made me very happy. Not financial advice. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen. But, yeah, we'll wait and see. So as always, make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're fascinated with this technology as I am, and you want to become a blockchain developer, it's one of the highest paying fields in tech. A lot of people who are in the cryptocurrency space, are investing in cryptocurrencies, trying to get a return that way. But a lot of people are just trying to solve their cash flow problem. And a lot of people stuck in jobs they don't like. And, if you're as fascinated in this space as I am, blockchain is one of the most fascinating fields in tech as well, and also one of the highest paying, if not the highest paying. I have to go check the statistics at the time recording this video. So if that sounds interesting to you, I've helped people with zero programming background become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So if you want to get started on that journey today, how can you do it? You go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses listed there, like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. As always, smash the like button, turn on notifications. We got a brand new one coming out very soon. I'll be keeping y'all updated in these live streams. It's gonna be a DeFi app. All right, so get excited. Yeah, don't worry, we're still doing the coding tutorials. We're just doing fewer of them as we've been in these live streams. But yeah, if you like those videos, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to master blockchain step by step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Just click the link down below to sign up today. All right, so that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp.